Hi there, good afternoon. You're watching Your Stocks. I'm Mangla Malu. With me is Ekta Batra. This is the show where we answer all your stock-related queries. As Friday it is, and it is the ladies special, so we answer queries coming in from our female viewers. Before we do that, a check at the markets. In fact, the fall has been is extending now to the levels of around 10,750 for the Nifty. Important level to watch out for because thrice in the last 10 sessions, the Nifty has rebounded from those levels. So keep an eye out on that. Currently at the low point of the day for all the frontline indices, and what's dragging the index right now is the heavyweight Reliance, which is at the lows of the day. We have L&T at the lows of the day as well, and along with that we have a lot of these metal stocks which are trading at the lows of the day. So something like a JSW Steel, that one should come up for you. Tata Steel at the low point of the day. And talking about Tata Steel, we have a lot of these Tata Group companies not doing too well. Tata Motors, TCS, both of them hitting the lower end of today's trading range. We're at crucial support zones. Let's see what happens in the last hour.
Hi Manglam, yes absolutely, and not to mention that it is stock specific as well. So we have Tata Motors, which is the top loser on the Nifty, down around 3% following it is another Tata company, so TCS, which is down around 2.5%. And just look at the kind of fall we've seen for IndusInd Bank, which is extended on a week-to-date basis to around, I think, 1.5% at this point for IndusInd Bank. Important because it came out with its numbers this week. So you get a sense in terms of the kind of disappointment that the street has post the numbers, especially the commentary as well as the exposure to IL&FS and the lack of recognition of IL&FS exposure that IndusInd Bank undertook this time. But nonetheless, we have a lot of stock queries to go through. So let's take you through all of the top stories that we're tracking. First, weakness on Dalal Street. Market trades near the day's low, even as Asia and Europe trade in the green. Fears of rising crude prices, weak Q3 earnings keep sentiment subdued. Mid-caps fall in line.
The TCS management, upbeat on demand, expects double-digit growth going forward. Stock remains under pressure on the back of margin miss.
Infosys trades weak ahead of its third quarter earnings today. Dollar revenue growth seen at 1%. Key to track will be the FY19 guidance. Any announcement on the buyback?
Bandhan Bank, they say the MSMEs and the poor are better credits than some AAA rated companies. Guides for continued strong loan growth. Adds that Sudhin Choksi and the Group Finance team will stay.
Nifty Bank weak, while the PSU Bank Index sees a cut of almost 1% after reports suggest that the Reserve Bank of India will wait for Q3 numbers before deciding on removing any prompt corrective action curbs. Okay, so those are the top stories that we're tracking. Let's take you through our ladies special on Your Stocks today, where we will answer queries from all our female investors. Joining us today, we have Mayuresh Joshi on the fundamentals, Sandeep Wagle on the technicals. Mayuresh as well as Sandeep, hi, welcome to the show. Good afternoon. And let's get going in terms of the first query that we have. We have Kavita Mehta, Mrs. Kavita Mehta, who writes to us from Kolkata. She holds 139 shares of Infosys at 11.95 since the past 4 years. She's a long-term investor and wants to know whether to hold or sell that stock. There's some technicality.
There is a technicality.
To Infosys,
so Infosys had given a bit of a bonus.
Yeah.
So over the last 4 years, probably she'd be making a fair amount of money. We'll just get the exact price with regards to the corporate action over the last 4 years. There would be a couple of bonuses out there. So she's actually sitting on a multi-bagger as against a loss. So would request the producers to take that plate off. We will derive the price that there was 4 years ago.
In any case, let's, irrespective of that, let's get the query answered. Mayuresh, what would you recommend? 11.95 is where she had bought the price. Assuming that she's sitting currently on a gain, what would you recommend to Kavita on Infosys?
Afternoon, Ekta. No, assuming the technicalities, my own sense is that the results are due today. So the expectations broadly, if you put inside how the TCS numbers had panned out, there might be some element in terms of the cross-currency headwinds, but a large element in terms of how their guidance will pan out in constant currency terms. They've obviously guided for a 6 to 8% band, and even on the EBIT margin front, between 22 and 24%. So I think how this guidance probably pans out, assuming the kind of slowdown that one expects in the US markets, the discretionary spending patterns from BFSI, which contributes 32%.
Mayuresh, Kavita is also a long-term investor. So this quarter's numbers are taken, but on a long-term basis, what would you recommend?
So I think to cut the point short, Ekta, I think the stock probably looks in a very solid territory in terms of earnings expected to be pretty reasonable over the next few quarters. So apart from all the headwinds that the sector might face, I think looking at her buying price and expectations of a reasonable earnings growth, along with the expectations of what can come out in terms of payouts, as they promise 70% in terms of giving it either as dividends or buybacks, I think it will be very, very interesting from a shareholder perspective. So yes, I think it's a clear hold from my side.
All right, exactly 4 years ago, the stock was trading close to around 540 rupees a piece, and currently it's around 675. So our viewer is making money, but for the long term, Mayuresh has given his views. Sandeep, chartically, how does Infosys look over the long term? It has been positive, but then there have been these intermittent periods for about a year or two of underperformance of the sector as well as the company.
Well, from my side also it is a very clear hold. Long term I am positive on the stock. 780 to 800 is what I would be looking at with a 12 to 15 month time horizon.
All right, thanks a lot for that. With that, we move on to another viewer query. We have Sangamitra Reddy. She calls us from Bangalore with a query. Sangamitra?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, sir.
Tell us.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yep, good afternoon. Tell us your query.
Yeah, we have purchased 1,000 shares of Sintex Plastics at rate of 101.98 in the year of 2017 October.
Okay.
So I've been seeing the price has come down very badly. It's around 25, 24 nowadays.
And this is pre the demerger or post demerger? You bought the plastic division of the company.
Pardon, sir?
You bought the plastic division of the country after of the company after the demerger, right? You did not buy Sintex Industries, or did you buy Sintex?
It's Sintex Plastics.
Okay, okay. And
yeah, it was for 101 rupees, 1,000 shares in the year of 2017.
All right. So Sintex Plastics, yes, close to around the level that she bought it at, and now she's seen a bit of a decline. In fact, 70% of her capital lost. Sandeep, what do you suggest she do? Maybe salvage the remaining 25% which is there, or hope for a bit of a bounce?
Mangalam, a bit of a bounce is what she can look at the most. I don't see a bigger bounce. I would recommend an exit on a bounce in the range of 30 to 33, and I don't see 36 being broken. That is a very, very strong resistance.
Okay. All right, Mayuresh, anything on Sintex Plastics?
No, I don't cover the stock, Ekta, so sorry for that.
What would you recommend as an alternative to it, if in case, our viewer doesn't mind taking a hit?
No, so I think banks are probably looking very, very interesting at this point of time. So the corporate retail banks, something like an ICICI Bank, for example, within the mid-cap universe, Federal Bank, the worst in terms of recognition on the corporate side, at least as asset quality is concerned, is fairly over. The slippages are moderating, which means the kind of provisioning that they've probably done and the credit costs that they've probably reported have peaked off as well. And when you're probably talking about the earnings growth, specifically from an advances perspective, I think the loan advances should be quite reasonable, which should give it the necessary leverage on the balance sheet, as well as improvement in the return ratios, both ROAs and ROEs. So I think bank stroke financials is something that I'll probably bank on over the next 12 to 15 months.
Okay, all right, Mayuresh. Well, in any case, when Sintex Plastics had listed way back in August of 2017, it listed at around 130 odd rupees. So you can see the seminal fall that we've seen from the listing price of Sintex Plastics in any case. We'll do one thing. We'll take a break, or rather we have one more query. Yeah, we have Bhagya Lakshmi who calls us from Kerala with a question. She has investments in LEEL Electricals. Hi, Bhagya Lakshmi.
Hi.
Yeah,
Good
go
afternoon.
ahead. Afternoon. Your question?
I have 200 shares of LEEL Electricals purchased at the rate of 250. I'm holding it for the last 2 years. I just want to know what shall I do right now.
Okay, I'm assuming that there's no technicality in fund. So it's been
they had given their or sold off their consumer business to rivals for 1,600 crores. So the play out there was perhaps that repayment would happen and they would get cash. Unfortunately, that hasn't played out such in that manner, and the stock is down around 84%.
Okay. So in any case, there has been some M&A which has taken place. But Mayuresh, what would you recommend on this?
No, again, I think no direct coverage here, but again, a large element in terms of what the synergies have come through. I think they would have probably come through at this point of time. But again, I think the large element, again, the bias probably still stays in terms of better quality stocks in markets like this. So I think, as I said, financials is something that I'll probably be banking on over the next 12 to 15 months.
Sandeep, do you have a view?
No, it's a weak stock. A sell on a rise would be my view. Sell on a bounce in the range of 55 to 60. I don't see it go beyond that. And in case it doesn't hold on the downside, 42 should be a stop loss.